And good morning. It's Tuesday, February 5th. Welcome to the morning show. I'm Doug Donley. Let's get to the weather. Today, there will be a few isolated snow showers before 7 a.m., which means they should have already happened. Then a slight chance of snow after 4 p.m. It will be cloudy with a high near 36. North wind around 6 miles per hour, becoming calm in the morning. Chance of precipitation is 20%. And tonight, expect snow and sleet. It's coming back before 3 a.m. Then freezing rain and sleet before 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. Then freezing rain and sleet, possibly mixed with snow after 4 a.m. Did I just read the same sentence twice? Could be. The sleet could be heavy at times, low around 30. Southeast wind 3 to 8 miles per hour. The chance of precipitation is 90%. New snow and sleet accumulation of less than 1 inch is possible. And tomorrow, more rain, freezing rain and sleet, possibly mixed with snow, becoming all rain after 10 a.m. Then gradually ending. A high near 44. East wind 6 to 9 miles per hour, becoming southwest in the afternoon. The chance of precipitation is 100%. New snow and sleet accumulation of less than a half inch is possible. And here's some events from around the county in the next few days. This Thursday at 6:30 p.m. at the Cecilton Community Center, enjoy an evening seeing life on the Chesapeake through the eyes of our wonderful local residents. This is a free event, and all are welcome to attend. Also on Thursday from 4 to 6 p.m., there's a happy hour at the Tory House. Sip hot chocolate and tour the Tory House, also known as the 107 House. Hors d'oeuvres provided by Market Street Cafe. This is a free event hosted by Colonial Charlestown. No tickets or reservations required. The Tory House is located at 343 Market Street, and there's a parking lot on Cecil Street. And Friday from 5:30 to 8 p.m., join the Elkton Alliance in downtown Elkton for their annual soup contest. Local businesses make homemade soup for the public to taste and vote for their favorite. Walk up and down Main Street, Elkton. Enjoy the soups and vote for your favorite. And some news today. This is from Maryland Matters, but I noticed numerous news outlets are reporting on this. Something of concern to drivers. In Annapolis, there was spirited debate on Senate Bill 292, which would limit the reasons that a motorist could be pulled over by a police officer. The bill would reclassify some primary offenses as secondary, including driving without functioning lights. That's all lights, headlights, taillights, etc. Driving without a mirror, or with obstructed mirrors or damaged mirrors. Window tint. Window tint used to be a big deal. I guess not so much anymore. Excessive noise. There's a good one. Failure to illuminate a license plate. I got pulled over for that in Rising Sun once. A driver could still be cited for any of these violations, but only after being pulled over for another primary violation. Public Defender Natasha Dartigue, who testified in support of the measure, said that victims of these racially motivated traffic stops find themselves in situations called driving while black. The racial disparity is evident in traffic enforcement. And Attorney General Anthony Brown, who submitted this legislation, I believe, submitted written testimony supporting the bill in concept, but he also suggested some amendments to address the fact that the bill covers far too many safety-related offenses. Should be pointed out that in Japan, if you have a dent in your car, you could be cited. And in Europe, they take all these safety related things far more seriously. In any case, today's feature. Last Thursday, the Cecil County Chamber of Commerce held its annual State of the County breakfast, which featured talks by County Executive Adam Straight and Council President Al Miller. With us to discuss the proceedings is Cecil TV's political correspondent, Grant Handley. Good morning, Grant.
Good morning, Doug. You were just talking about if you're in Europe, your car could get cited for a dent. And there's a good thing I'm not in Europe because the whole side of my Pontiac has a whole dent in it. So that'd be no good at all.
Right. It seems like driving in general is becoming more and more a lax affair in this country. And not to get too far off the subject, but in Maryland, you no longer are required to signal a turn but if failure to signal causes an accident, you may be cited. And then the other thing that just bugs me no end is that this people passing on the right on the shoulder. It's so routine, yet you go to other states and people don't do that. If somebody's making a left turn, the cars stop. In New York, it's just zoom around them, and there's one place in particular down by Warburton Road and 272 where you really can't see. There could be a cyclist. Who knows? It's dangerous. Anyway, it was our intention to go to the State of the County breakfast and record the speeches and present them on Cecil TV. But the morning show responsibilities overlapped. I couldn't get to Chesapeake City by 8:30. So, fortunately, you were there and can report on what happened. So, according to County Executive Straight, what is the state of the county?
First, I'll say this, Doug. The event was packed. It sold out. There wasn't an empty chair in sight. And this was my first time attending a State of the County. So I don't want to extrapolate what that means for attendance in the past. But I will say I got in right at, 8:35, assuming you'd be kind of eating breakfast and meandering around for a while. And right when I walked in there, Megan McCrae went to the mic and said, take your seat. We're about to start. And I honestly struggled to find a seat for the first 3 minutes. So luckily, the folks at CCPS took me in as one of their own, and we could keep going. But it was packed, and I assume that would be a testament to the excitement of the new administration. But to answer your question, Adam said, quote, "The state of the county has never been stronger." Never been stronger. In my opinion, Doug, I actually thought it was kind of interesting diction and word choice to use, given that Adam has just come in after running a campaign that the county was in trouble and he needs to come in and fix the county. To claim that it has now never been stronger, only a month and a half in, I thought was a little bold. And I understand his intention was now that the right people are in place, they are on track to never be stronger. But, I feel like if I was a politician and I came in replacing somebody, I would say we're in tough shape still. We got a lot to clean up. But he chose the optimism, and I think it really responded well with the crowd.
Did he point out particular things that made the state of the county so excellent?
He did point out a couple early victories that he could celebrate with his administration. A couple of them included the new website design for Cecil County that is in the works. He also referenced the economic study that will be a pathway forward for figuring out the future of economic development in Cecil County. I will say, though, I don't believe that project has been out to bid yet. They are still working on the request for proposal process. So while they are talking about its victory, I don't know if a contractor has been selected, nor has it even been out for public bid. So it's still going to be a long time and a long process before we see a tangible deliverable there. something I thought was really interesting. He talked about the Maryland Film Commission, and they want to explore opportunities that come to Cecil County and highlight it. I'm unsure if the Film Commission is a part of Maryland Public Television or what their exact role is, but any sort of external publicity of the county, I think, is always something that should be celebrated.
Right. Well,
The final,
that typically is just, uh, it means that the state, I'm not sure what, it would not be I don't think Maryland Public Television, but the the state, would make licensing and whatever, to filmmakers. Um, okay, go on.
that's interesting. I didn't know, so I appreciate that. And the final thing he really touched on was just working on restaffing the sheriff's department. And one of the first initiatives he did was providing better benefits to the deputies as an incentive to come, and not only come, but police retention, because retention is honestly a harder issue than recruitment. So those are really victories that he
Right.
touted, and kind of the highlights of that speech
Right.
there.
They all seem sort of peripheral types of things. The study, etc.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd be more interested in things that people are feeling and experiencing, but whatever. So in this grand picture, are there any dark clouds that we
It's funny you say that, because
that we must
I think that
endure?
was the exact wording he used,
Oh,
was there
really?
are dark clouds looming on the horizon. And I think he was really referencing Annapolis, and some of the bills he is concerned about coming in Annapolis that will likely pass. Couple of things that he pointed out that I thought was interesting, aside from just Annapolis, and we'll get into that in a second. The cost of living, the average cost of living in Cecil County is 3.7% higher than the national average. He pointed that out as a challenge they need to overcome. He also talked about the removal of enterprise tax zones. This is one of the policies that the Moore administration is looking at implementing, and I believe the sunset day was proposed to be June 30th, 2025. Now, an enterprise tax zone, the basic concept is, we're Cecil County, we want to attract something cool like a Great Wolf Lodge. And to attract Great Wolf Lodge and have them come to our county, which provides jobs and provides more tourism, you got to sweeten the pie a little bit. And how they do that is they typically have some sort of tax waiver structure for usually the first 10 years. So year one, they could be waived, I don't know, 90%, 80% of their tax obligation to the county. And then as you go increase in years, then the waiver decreases. So come year 5, maybe it's only 50% waived, and year 6, 40%, and so on and so forth. So it's a long-term investment plan. To say that when Great Wolf Lodge comes, you're getting a lot of tax revenue immediately certainly isn't true with the enterprise zones. If anything, you're probably not benefiting from a tax revenue at all. But you hope in the long term, when Great Wolf Lodge is established and becomes a strong point in Perryville, that they benefit from those tax incentives. But the state government wants to do away with enterprise tax zones. Governor Morris expressed concerns for how it works in more urban areas, Prince George's County, Anne Arundel County, Baltimore City, Montgomery County. And Adam Strait claims that just because there may be issues with the tax zones in those areas doesn't mean there's issues in Cecil County. So he's really, really concerned from that front. And it's going to be hard for us to handle any deficits or any building the county without creating another deficit without those enterprise tax zones.
So
And
this is not a retroactive move, right? This does not
correct.
take
So
away.
enterprises here would be grandfathered in, so you don't have to worry about that. But there is concerns with the Bainbridge development project, because that's still in infancy. And what does that mean? Because we don't have any big suitors yet, as they're still kind of, talking
there is
around.
the fish farm.
Right. So I don't know where the tuna farm lies throughout that process. But if they're not yet established, they got till June 30th to do so. So it just takes a tool away from the county executive's office for how they can incentivize large corporations to come. You
Right.
know,
I know
so
that not everybody loves enterprise zones, just from a
no,
political or
no,
philosophical
yeah,
standpoint. I know that
yeah,
in the past
certainly,
it's
Doug.
been an issue in Cecil County politics that whether we should be subsidizing corporations. However,
Certainly,
it
certainly.
it is a path to jobs and good jobs. In fact, looking at Lockheed Martin, etc. So
One of the arguments against enterprise tax zone is simply, does Amazon or Lidl or big corporation X really need tax relief? Surely they could foot the bill. But the argument to that is, well, if we're not going to give them tax relief, somebody
right,
else will,
it's
and they'll just go
competitive.
there. So it seems like it's the straight administration's stance that they're pro the enterprise zone, and I think it's a fair argument, but I do understand the critics of the taxing zone as well.
Right. But, faced with their $3 billion shortfall, every
Sure.
every everything is being included in as potential savings. So
The final challenge that County Executive Strait had mentioned was they're now on the hook for about 1.9 million of the state's structural deficit. So that's just an unfunded mandate that's come down their way. And Adam expressed some frustrations with that as well. So, and once again, Doug, we've talked about this, and it's a common theme. When Adam had his budget open house and his budget public hearings and things, input sessions really is what I should be calling them. You have one group that is typically CCPS, fund CCPS fully advocates. You have another group that are more staunch, fiscally responsible individuals who want to see the minimum tax burden imposed as possible to the Cecil Countyans. And now you have the state giving you $1.9 million deficit, and then your enterprise zones go away. So when he ran, he said that he was going to do all these things without raising taxes, and I imagine that's going to be a challenge. So I don't want to speculate. I don't work for the finance office. I don't know what their position is, but it
right.
just seems that plate is getting more and more full.
But it seems 1.9 million, though not a trivial amount, falls well under the county's reserves.
Sure.
Typically. Yep. So
Yep.
I don't think a tax increase is, at least this year, it's not going to be a problem. So I believe Councilman Miller also spoke. So
yes,
what did he
Council
have to
President
say?
Al Miller spoke, and this was his first address as Council President. This was his first time as Council President, and it was cool to see him up there. And I was curious to see what he'd have to say, given that this is his new role. And he's been on the council for a while. I believe this is his third term that he just got elected to. So he has a wealth of experience with him. I thought Council President Miller took more of a positive, engaging, crowd working approach than Adam did. Al Miller shouted out a lot of people in the room. He shouted out the new executive director for Cecil County Public Libraries. He shouted out the CCPS superintendent, shouted out the teacher of the year for CCPS. So he kind of went around and gave some roses and accolades to those who were in attendance, which was fun to see. And then Al just kind of spoke about the role of the council and what they do. And it's their job to represent constituents, and it's their job to pass the budget. I felt like it was more informational than it was necessarily agenda setting. And it's an interesting time because when you and I, Doug, were going through our county council interviews during election time, one of the common questions was, should the council have more power with the budget? Should the council have more power with X, Y, and Z? And Al Miller seemed to keep things pretty informational, surface level, and positive and fun, which is always a winning combination for a speech. But he also has the opportunity to try to make the council a bigger player and a bigger role in the county government than what we're seeing. And given Al and Adam's positive relationship, I think it could be done. He didn't talk about it. In my opinion, I thought maybe the missed opportunity there, but maybe the talks are behind closed doors. But that was kind of my thoughts on Councilman President Al Miller's speech.
Perhaps a future subject for us. So,
Right.
But
it was a lovely event, Doug. The eggs were good, and I was happy to be there, and that's all I have to report regarding that.
Well, we thank you. We're glad you were there to give us this information. So, well, Grant, thanks for coming on. We would like to point out that Grant will be back with us this Friday as host on the morning show. His guests on Friday will be Megan McCrae and Dr. Carl Roberts from the Chamber of Commerce to talk about the legislative aspects of the chamber, or where they what are their priorities in that regard.
Yep, looking forward to talking to them, Doug. So it'll be fun, and I'll see everybody tune in on Friday and Thursday, but Friday you'll see me.
Yes, and tomorrow we'll be talking to Vicki Tillman, who has a online sort of seminar about the Constitution. And the Constitution's very much in the news lately, so be with us for that. So, thanks, Grant. Have a great day.
Thank you, Doug.
And thanks for watching Cecil TV. If you think programs like this are valuable, please consider becoming a donor to Cecil Public Media. Please like us on Facebook and subscribe to the Cecil TV YouTube channel. Have a great day.